Hi guys, my name's Thomas and welcome back to my self-improvement YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be focusing on how difficult times are crucial in order to make us stronger people. So I think too many people like to focus on the negatives of each situation, which is natural and something that I used to do for many years of my life. Over recent years I've learned to always take a positive from each situation in life, however difficult they may be. And I'm going to share some first-hand experiences that I've experienced through my life that have been very difficult, but I've managed to seek positives in those situations. So you may not realise that there's always a positive in each situation, but in time you will realise that this is the case. I do believe that everything does happen for a reason. As mentioned, it's not always with immediate explanation as to why that is. But every life event that I face has made me stronger and has taught me lessons that I never knew before. And I hope to pass these lessons on to other people. This is exactly my mission for this channel, is to help young people with the lessons that I've learned, to help better them lives, and hopefully they don't have to make the same mistakes that I've learned and go through the same traumatic lessons that I've experienced too. So I'm going to speak to you about the examples that I've experienced in my life, and the key one for me is my relationship with my dad and how difficult it was for me growing up. He was not really present. He was present, but he wasn't present at the same time. So I'll explain a bit. He did very little when it came to bringing up me and my sister from a young age. This was pretty much solely left down to my mum. I'd say over like 90% of the time it was completely her, which is very difficult and for her very stressful. Obviously she had her own life going on, had her own job, had her own just life going on, and had her own mum to care for too. Whilst my dad was just at home a lot of the time, not really doing anything around the house or caring for us. She'd always make us food for school, take us to school, take us to friends' house, any after school activities. This was like solely down to my mum for all our upbringing, I'd say. Especially for me as a young man, I found it really difficult to not have a father figure there. I've kind of had to search for outside influences to help me with this. So mainly my grandma was kind of like a second mother. I'd say obviously she can't replicate the father figure, but it's kind of like having two mums. We'd go around there so often and I'd learn a lot from her. She taught me a lot of values and has brought me up really well and made me the person, had a big influence on how the person I am today, which is obviously I'm very grateful for this. I begin to understand why I am the way I am, because not having a father figure there has had a big influence in my life, and I've had to do a lot of personal growth to become the person that I want to become, because I've not had the father figure there to show me what's right, what's wrong, what I should do to become like a man. And I'm still learning. I still don't believe I'm a man. I still believe like I'm a boy, really, with a lot of growth to do. I want to become more masculine. It's something that is crucial. I think having a father figure there to becoming more masculine, and I've never had that there. So it has been really difficult for me. And I want to be the one there to kind of break the cycle through my family. I want to be the father that I never had in my lifetime, to be there for my children and help bring them up correctly, and teach and hopefully guide them and teach them lessons that I never learned, that I've kind of had to teach myself, because I feel like that is your sole mission as a father, is to, especially if you've got like a young boy, you need to like bring them up with good values, teach them the ways of the world, teach them all the lessons that you experienced as a child. And unfortunately I didn't get to experience that, and obviously I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself or anyone watching this to feel sorry for me, but that is just what the situation is. And yeah, all I can do is learn from the lessons. And I'm also grateful for how the way he is, because he taught me like how not to be at the same time, as well as not getting the lessons that I feel like I should have had. I've also learned what is right, what is not right, of course. He was quite a big alcoholic and smoking, so these are things that I've known, that obviously bad habits and stuff that I'm going to avoid in my lifetime, and pass these lessons on to my children and all the people that I try and help with in my life. When it comes to friends and peers and stuff. So another experience I had when I was a bit younger, I fell off my bike when I was about 14, just out with friends. It might not sound that bad. It was quite a serious one, like down a quite steep hill. I ended up getting like a few scars from this on my leg, which did like bother me. It affected me quite a lot psychologically throughout the years. So yeah, that was obviously not nice, and I had to battle with that in my head for a good few years, I'd say. And in my head, it affected how I looked. It might not, for a lot of people, especially if they saw my skin, they probably wouldn't even notice that they are still very small, and obviously they've got better over time. But it's something that did affect me over time, and it put me off like going out on my bike in the future. And I always had that bit of fear, could it happen again? And I think it kind of played on my mind when it came to other things. But I take this as a positive, and I see it as if there's something like this didn't happen, I wouldn't be so heavily focused on improving like my body and my looks, for example. You might say that's a bit vain, but I don't know, I think improving yourself is always a good thing and something everyone should focus on, which is a bit of a side tangent, but yeah, I think it's very important, especially when it came to my fitness journey. If it wasn't for something like this, I don't think I'd be so heavily focused and pressed to getting my fitness as good as it is, my body as aesthetically pleasing as it is. Still got a lot of work I want to put in, but I think anyone who would take a look at my body would be very impressed, especially when seeing where I've came from, being a skinny boy. I've got more about my fitness journey on my fitness video I made a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, I'm grateful for this, and I wouldn't change what happened for that lesson not happening, because I wouldn't be the person I am today, which is my overall message of this video. You need to appreciate these lessons, because you might think, oh, like, why did that happen? There's literally no positives to this, but there will be. You might just not know it that I didn't in that moment, but now I'm very grateful for this. So another big life event that I've had is I failed my driving test actually 6 times. It's a lot of times, I know, 6 times. You did hear that right. And I also, when I was failed about 4 or 5 times, I did crash my car. This wasn't actually my fault, believe it or not. So I was just driving along normally, and someone just came out of the road from a side road. I was just driving straight along and just went straight into me. It wasn't my fault. But obviously already failing 4 or 5 times, and I was struggling quite a lot psychologically. I feel like it was just never going to happen, and then this happened. I was like, oh, this is just not meant to be. Should I just give up? But I kept going. I was like, I'm not going to let this beat me. I don't care how many times this happens. I will keep going. And I guess you could link this to delayed gratification. Finally getting that pass, when I passed on my 7th time, it was like, that exhalation was amazing. I've never really experienced one of those moments. That was one of the best days in my life. I'm sure a lot of people that pass first, second time will not really feel like this, but I'm sure anyone who struggled to tried again, failed, got themselves back up, and when you finally achieve that thing, it is a special feeling, and something you do really appreciate and you're grateful for. And obviously I feel like it's made me a lot better driver too, when it comes to my safety on the road. So yeah, I wouldn't change this either. I don't think there would be anything benefit from me changing that, and I feel the lessons I've learned are a lot more beneficial to just saving a bit of time and money. So yeah, another thing that I'm grateful for. I spoke about my grandma a bit earlier in this video. I did lose her, I think 2.5 years ago, which was very difficult for me because that was the first time I lost someone close to me, my family. We've lost a couple of distant relatives, I think, before, but no one major. Like my grandma, who, like I said, was like a second mother, had a massive influence on my upbringing and the person I am today. So this was a very difficult period of time. Luckily, we had good family and a good relationship, especially my mum, my sister, and other members of the family, which was really important during the time. But yeah, I think anyone that probably hasn't experienced this so far in their life will find it really difficult, and there's not really any getting away from this. It will be difficult for you. But to the situations I am now in, which I'll speak a bit about later in this video, or maybe in a different video, I've not decided yet. It has made it a lot easier when it's become to other people in my family getting ill and having life-threatening illnesses, because yeah, I've experienced that once before, and I feel like nothing can really phase you once you've already been there. You kind of know what it's like, and somewhat. Obviously, you can't prepare for the major event of when it happens, but I think overall it has helped me a lot. And obviously, it was very sad to lose someone so influential in my life, but it happened, and I'm grateful that I experienced what it feels like to lose someone. As bad as that may sound, like obviously I didn't want her to lose her, but to experience that at a young age, I think is important. And yeah, I don't think it can really, a lot too much could really phase me now. Who knows? But I feel like losing someone is a big chapter in your life, and something that a lot of people haven't experienced yet in their life. And when it happens, I think you will grow a lot from that, as hard as it may be. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is, obviously I'm being very vulnerable and open with you guys in this video, so it's quite deep for me to talk about this, and I've never really spoke about a lot of this stuff to even anyone, so I hope you appreciate me being quite open in this video. I was quite badly beaten up in town, in one of my local town, about 1.5 years ago. Something stupid, just out drinking, and yeah, it wasn't my fault at all, but obviously you get these incidents, a lot of drunken people. It was after the Euros, I think, in 2021, so yeah, you get idiots like that. But obviously I was quite badly beaten up. I had a black eye, which obviously going out, you can't really avoid people asking questions, what happened, this and that, which really wasn't nice at all. So yeah, that was a very difficult moment. Lasted about 6 weeks, where I just had to go out in sunglasses. Luckily, it was actually the summertime, so it wasn't too weird for me to just wear sunglasses. But yeah, I struggled a lot with that, because that was like a big incident, and also changed the way I kind of went out. When I went out, I would just be a lot more cautious when it comes to other people that I don't really know, because you just don't know how people react these days. And yeah, it's made me very cautious. So another one I'm somewhat grateful for, I guess. But yeah, that was probably the one that's like, I don't really know why that needed to happen, but like I said, I did learn quite a lot. Moving on to this summer, I had a couple of incidents when I went away. I tried to go away to, I think it was Kavos in Greece. Went away with a couple of friends, ended up boarding the plane, everything was going fine, landed, got to security, realised didn't have my passport with me. Obviously I had my passport to board the plane, but when it came to arriving there, it somehow disappeared. I don't know exactly what happened. It doesn't really matter, but at the end of the day, I learned a lot from this. I learned I need to be a lot more cautious when it comes to my own belongings, which is something I haven't been for a lot of my life. I'm very forgetful, and I think this was the moment that I look back on and be like, I'll look back on forever and be like, how did you let this happen? And I'm certain I'll never let this happen again. And if anyone's listening, don't forget your passport. That is one life lesson you should already know, but if you don't, be a bit more responsible with your belongings, especially when it comes to your passport, because that can be a very long and expensive process to get back. So take care of your belongings. I think the last one I'm going to speak about in this video is another holiday. I got food poisoning when I went away with my sister to Cannes in France. We were there having a good time, got to about second last night, noticed I was feeling really ill, stomach pain, stomach bug, didn't want to eat dinner. We went out for a couple of drinks, and then I was just feeling really ill, didn't want to eat, didn't want to drink, and then I had really bad stomach bug. The usual, I had like violently bad diarrhea, I was vomiting constantly, and the plan was to go, my dad has a place in Menorca in Spain. So the plan was to go to Cannes for a few days and then go on to Menorca, which we still managed to do despite my illness and still feeling bad when I got there. I had this bug for 4 or 5 days, and it really was not pleasant at all. I ended up, after about 5 days, I couldn't take it any more. I lost a lot of weight, and I ended up going to hospital because I just couldn't deal with it any longer. was on a drip, stayed in overnight, and I was thankfully a lot better. But the message that I got from this was, I want to speak about is I lost a lot of weight from the food poisoning, not being able to eat, drink, lost about half a stone. I was obviously away from the gym for about a week and a half, 10, 12 days. So I lost quite a lot of strength, which was significant in my journey. Obviously making so much progress over the last 18 months or so. So yeah, this was really hard to go back to the gym when I had lost a lot of my progress, and I got downbeat a bit from that, but I learned that I can't just let stuff like this defeat me, because I've come such a long way. I can't just throw it all away. I've got a lot more progress to make, so I'm not going to let incidents like this drag me down, and I'm hoping to let this correlate to the rest of my life. So if you're ever experiencing an event like this where something you've worked really hard for, just see it as a setback in your journey, and know it's just, these things are bound to happen in your journey, and maybe it's the best thing that happened to you, because you might have been slacking a bit, but got a bit complacent. This might give you a bit more fire in your belly to go and push on, because that's what it certainly has done to me when it comes to bulking and pushing myself as hard as possible in the gym. So I think that's a very important lesson, and yes, it has really pushed me on. I think these things that put that extra fire inside your belly because maybe you've been a bit complacent or not been working as hard as you can be are the best lessons. So yeah, I hope overall this video has been really helpful. I feel like I've been through quite a lot. I'm only 21 years old. I've got a couple more things that I want to speak about, which are very personal to my heart, which are going on currently in my life, which I'll speak about in a future video, but I think it would be too much for this video. It would be great. I'd be grateful to hear about any of your life lessons that you've been experienced in your life, if they're similar to mine, or if you just want to share them with other people, that'd be great. To let me know how you've dealt with them, and if you've struggled with some things, maybe just think back and see if there's some positives you can take from it, and hopefully this video has helped you to see those positives. That'd be great. So if you could like, share, subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. Just getting started, as we mentioned, the quality and quantity is only going to get better. If you've got any ideas, just let me know, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye for now.